The Atlanta Dream are in a make or break moment. Will they sacrifice their past to build on their future? Right now, the Atlanta Dream have a promising young core. With the MVP candidate Rhyne leading the charge, the Atlanta Dream are at a crossroads right now. With players such as Jordan Canada and Allisha Gray setting up the pillars of this franchise, can Atlanta afford to lose their future stars for more veteran-laden players? The Dream's roster choices are razor thin. Atlanta is gonna have to make some tough cuts. These are the projected protected players in this 2025 WNBA Expansion Draft for the Atlanta Dream. Most notable, Jordan Canada, Allisha Gray, and of course, Rhyne. Now, I do believe that the Atlanta Dream will hold on to their young core. This means that Atlanta will be continuing the Rhyne business. But the question is, what about the others? Expect Naz Hillman on this team's franchise core to stay through this expansion draft, but that leaves a bigger question. Will Atlanta's gamble pay off, or will it end up costing them in the long run? These are the projected unprotected players. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, who last year was ranked at a number 25 position as top WNBA players. Haley Jones, who has been a standout point guard defensively. She's been a little inconsistent, but she still has a lot of promising talent. And of course, Aerial Powers, who is a really great role player for this team. Now, this is what's interesting about this. Out of the 3 draft picks from the Atlanta Dream from the 2024 WNBA draft, none of them joined the team. Now, the Atlanta has been steadily speaking about Nadia Pulsch, and they're trying to make sure that she stays on this roster. The general manager of the Dream actually spoke about this and said that he's monitoring now the 20-year-old in Australia and watching what she's been doing. So it will be interesting in the direction that they seem that they want to move in. But if you're the Dream, the question is, who are you going to bring in free agency? If they don't protect the right players, especially in this expansion draft, Atlanta could be facing a huge and difficult road ahead. Now, obviously, you have a dynamic duo, Rhyne and Allisha Gray, who led this team last year to the WNBA playoffs once again. Howard, who I picked for MVP, and that's kind of looking silly at this point because the way Asia Wilson played, but she has that type of potential, and she was a former #1 pick herself. So if you don't expect her to get to that level, especially all-star caliber, because she is one of the most talented guards in this league. The reason why I said it's going to be difficult is because the rest of the teams have gotten a lot better, and we've seen it just in a small sample size. Atlanta fought their way tooth and nail to get into the 8th spot, and they ended up in the playoffs. Obviously, they lost their head coach with Tanisha Wright. They brought in Carl Smezko from Florida Gulf Coast University. He's won several Atlantic 10 championships with Florida Gulf Coast. He is a college basketball analytics savant. But now the question is, bringing in a first-year head coach to the W, and they just made it to the 8th spot last season, and they don't have the most talented roster, it could be looking like a pitfall next season. They struggle with a lot of consistency, especially on the defensive end, even though they're really good offensively as well. So it's going to be really difficult for this team to put it together. I mean, the question is this team wasting the young talent that's on this roster? And I'm speaking about Rhyne specifically. Now, when it comes to defense, you have players like Jordan Canada and Naz Hillman who are defensive starlets, especially Jordan Canada. Her on-ball defense is really great, and that's obviously a reason why you're going to have to keep her around. But now the question is, they lack a lot of bench help. They need a lot of bench help, and if somebody like Aerial Powers disappears, that's not gonna help. Addition with Cheyenne Parker-Tyus. So there'll be a lot of opportunities in the draft moving forward for them, as well as free agency. But they're going to have to really determine who are the 6 that they're going to want to keep. Aerial Powers being in this or not being protected is a high-risk, high-reward type of situation, because if she does end up in Golden State, they're going to end up with a great role player on their team. What do you think? Is Atlanta making the right choices with these 6 being protected and these 6 not being protected? Put it in the chat.